And you have important new messages, please read, and because you can customise that. We've got our details in here, and you can see we've got a little message, and we can do these as a bulk message out to all students. This is one that's come in to me, and it's from the main coordinator of this one here. I tend to do one once a week where I send them out the work that's required to do for the week. And so I just sent one out this morning. We just had a lecture as well, which we do VCs. So here I've just got the information where I send them out what they are required to do. They are self-directed, but they do have time frames on how to do these things. So sometimes they need reminding that things close and are due and that sort of thing as well. So we try to keep it in an informal tone. This is their second topic with us, so second subject. So we've already met them once, and we'll be meeting them all again in August. So by now we're sort of opening up the lines of communication reasonably well. We email, we text, but the dialogue, this one we tend to use once a week. I'll send out what's due this week. So last week I didn't, because I was actually on leave, and I thought they're all still coming into it. So we've got their first lecture was today. So we've got their reading with links into the books. We've also got that they have a quiz to do and their reading, and then I also put little helpful hints and things like that in there as well. So just things that sort of engage them, and then quite often I'll get reminders and little messages from them from this as well. And this works really well for us as a large group message rather than email. I find emails tend to not necessarily be always read by them, whereas this one they'll see that straight away when they go in that they have the important message that they need to read, and we I suppose condition them early on in the piece that they need to read these. It's beneficial for them to actually use that, and we prefer these rather than the Moodle message up here, because we can attach documents and so on like that, and so it does work really well. Quite simple. You can either do a draft one by creating a message by clicking on the create here. You can either select individual people to use if you haven't used this before, so you can go through the different names, or we can do a bulk rule, choose the group and so on that you want, future members, and then pop in your details, and you can even have an attachment of about 500 KB in there. So it's really handy for upcoming things for residentials and things like that, and they can go back and look at the message, and then when they've I'll go back to another one and just see if I can find one that's been sent to someone. So we'll have, you can see the messages clearly sitting in there, so it makes life a little bit easier for them to actually follow a conversation as well, and so on. But it does seem to work really well, and we've had a lot of success in that.
So with the dialogue, it actually stays inside that particular Moodle? It
does. It just sits in here within that shell, so I can go back and have a look at them. And we do receive a little email saying, Tennille Bailey has sent you a message. You can click on the hyperlink, it will take you straight to that Moodle shell to that message as well. So it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go through, you can filter, you can close them, you can go back in and read. And this obviously is one that I've sent out. I'll just try and find where you can see where they do actually message me. So they'll go in here, and you can see little things like this, and we can have conversations. So it's easy to follow the conversation. It's a little bit like an email trail. And you can print those off or whatever you need to do with them, and you can close them if you need to or collapse them. So really handy tool, and we found it really easy compared to perhaps say the messaging where you click here and you just have a little bit more of a, you have to scroll through and find the information, and it actually takes you out of the shell. So we really like the dialogue because it relates to that topic and that subject with those ones.
Mm-hmm.
So
very good. Thank you for sharing that.
That's okay.
What other communication tools have you used, Kerry?
Well, in a previous role within GoTAFE, I used a lot of Facebook, and as Christine knows, it's probably one of the main people. I used to use a lot of secret groups, and I found that really beneficial with my students that were a different cohort. They were, once again, blended delivery. Younger students didn't necessarily know anyone, felt like they were the only person in the world studying. They were using Moodle. Having the secret groups, it was more about just sharing them and engaging them online, and then getting them confident enough to share some something about themselves. So I used to tend to use that more in Moodle. We'd have a little forum, get them to chat on there. Then I found a lot of them were actually more confident on Facebook because they're more familiar with that, and they're of that age group, in the 18 to sort of 30 age group, who use Facebook quite a bit. And I would try and share some fun facts in the evenings and things like that that related to their course of study, that would perhaps create a thread that would go for some discussion, and then informally discuss some of their assessments and things like that too. And that was really beneficial. That worked really well. With social media policy, with the current
just lost Kerry.
I also used, oh, sorry, Sesma, you there?
Yes, we are here now.
You're back again, sorry.
Yes, we just lost you for a second.
Reception in this building sometimes. So it's worked really well. With this cohort of students, we don't use Facebook and any social media at all, which is a shame in some ways, because I feel it could be beneficial, but it also can be detrimental with some of them. So we can't control it. So we let them have their own study groups and things like that, but we're not actually a part of that. So,
okay, that's great.
And I was using WhatsApp as well, which is just another messaging one as well, which works really well with some students. And you can see on their contact details whether or not they're a WhatsApp user, so you can send out messages and different things as well. So it's another way to see that they've read it. Yeah.
I haven't heard of that particular one, but yeah, that's interesting.
That's good.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
That's okay. Thank you.
That's really
short
good.
And brief.
Short and brief, but wonderful. And it's great to see how the dialogue box was working. Yeah.
Thanks, Christine.
Excellent. I'm just going to share my screen again. Jane, you're going to share with us about what you've been doing with some of the VCAL students with Facebook. Did you want to share your screen? You don't need to share your screen.
No, look, I can't really share anything because most of our students were under 18 and just for, privacy and stuff like that. But very similar to Kerry, we could use a Moodle shell to do things, and we could use emails to communicate, but the cohort was generally 15 to 20, and a pretty tricky cohort of people, so you couldn't assume that people actually had access to computers at home or internet access, or just sort of a lot of basic resources. But, just because of the age, most of them really did have always a phone and always access to Facebook. And like Kerry said, it was something that, because they were so comfortable with, then they were really open to using. So we sort of started using it to try and hopefully get them more used to things, so that we could then work on Moodle at a later time, but we could just develop that stuff, particularly around protocols. I guess that, just to backtrack a bit, I was initially pretty hesitant about going down that track for my own. It's really important in that cohort to keep your boundaries sort of in place when we're working with young people with a lot of different issues in their lives. So that was where it was really important that it's now quite an official thing in our institute. We've got procedures to start a secret group up. We need to undertake a training session before we can actually get an official Facebook site. We've been told as staff not to have unofficial Facebook sites and not to be Facebook friends with students. So this has made it a lot easier as a trainer to feel comfortable from my end about using it. So for anyone who doesn't know, Kerry mentioned it as well, the secret group means that you can start up a group that isn't open to the public, that you can invite anyone with a Facebook account onto, but you don't have to become friends with them. So this was also really important to the students as well. They didn't really want me to see, their personal accounts. So we could all, some of them did and some of them didn't, but it meant that if somebody invited me to be a Facebook friend, I could say, look, I'm sorry, it's against policy and procedures for us to do that. So that kind of set up really good ground rules for everyone. And just the use of the social media policy for students, we used that as a literacy text. We printed it out, we went through it, and that we used that also as a work-related skills thing, because it was looking at policy and procedure and how to follow that. And then as the use of the site went on, we could kind of model that difference between being able to put up whatever you want on your own site amongst your own friends to using social media in a professional forum. So we often had to take off students' comments or posts, but we'd always talk to them about it and go, see, this is, policy and procedure, and they go, oh, okay, right, this is different to my account. So we used it a lot as, as a work-related skill. And just for that engagement, we used the poll function a lot. So if we never use it as an actual teaching tool, but it was just that complementary. I think Kerry talked about that as well. So that if we watched a video in a series and the students went, oh, this is cool, we could put the link up later to iView series or whatever that we want, or we could put a more detailed information, or often the students would go, oh, hey, this is a thing that what we talked about today, and they would post something as well. We also used it as a way of modelling work too, because if someone did finish an assignment or a movie or a film, we used a lot of multimedia. It was a great way to post it, and then people could see, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then once we'd posted something, people got a bit competitive about it too. In those kind of young cohorts, they'd all go, oh, I want to have my movie up there, or my assignment, or my poster, or I think,
that's fantastic, Jane. So if you compared having using Facebook compared to not having Facebook, did you find that you had more students engaged and turning up for work and finding out why they weren't there?
It was a really important communication tool, the messenger associated with it, actually, because students in our cohort were always running out of credit. Yeah. And they didn't ever, some of them never accessed their student emails. Yeah. Unless we were standing right behind them and said, you've got to send an assignment or do this. But if we had an excursion coming or a change in plans or something, we would create a Facebook event. And that was a really effective way of reminding people, when things were on and not. And also the messenger was often the only way that some students would come in. And also a lot of the students who we just couldn't assume that people had a basic thing like, I'll email you my assignment or something. And they would often use Messenger to get us assignments, to get us photos that we needed for, their evidence. And so it was really something that they were so comfortable with. And particularly we had kids with, or students with ADHD and dyslexia and a whole bunch of things that made them just look at even, Moodle and go, oh, I'm not going to be any good at this, no patience, whatever. So if you could start to use Facebook, which I already knew, but start to model it in a way that you might use Moodle, then hopefully when you're kind of scaffolding that, when they come to use an LMS, you've kind of taken a few steps towards understanding what a forum is, what a poll is, what a quiz is. And we'd start saying to them things like, it is homework to look on Facebook and make a comment.
Yeah.
So it also, we were able to deal with a lot of social issues, which are kind of professional level things around how to behave in offices and institutions too, in terms of it gave us a chance to talk about positive feedback and constructive criticism and and looking about and talking about as a group what were the sort of appropriate comments when people posted things, because you'd always get, which generally we'd take down, but we, depending on how serious they were, we'd either discuss as a group or with that individual, why wasn't that an appropriate thing to do? And you watch the comments change over the year, and people were generally, you know, really much more professional, encouraging towards the end of the year, where at the start they just, you know, it was very blurred with their personal use of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a really, it just gave us something extra to keep, I guess, the sort of thing that a learning management system is supposed to be, but when you are with a very disengaged group, it's a kind of an in-between step, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Now, Carol's just mentioned a few comments there. She's talking about Messenger is a standard communication tool for Toastmasters, and also I've begun using Facebook group with the new tool called Units. Happy to share here. I'd love you to share, Carol. That would be great, because I'm not sure what you mean by units, so it might be something that I can learn there too.
Yes, thank you so much, Christine, and hello everyone. I'm a bit of a ring-in today.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
I've been associated with TAFE and students that you probably have in past years, but my students now are all over the world. They're Toastmasters, and that's an educational program for public speaking and leadership.
Yeah, fantastic.
So what I've discovered in the last couple of weeks is quite exciting. Facebook has done something that I really liked, and that doesn't happen very often. So I found that in the settings, I could use this tool called Units.
Do you want to share your screen, Carol, and show us?
Do that straight away and show you. And this is for a group of people who are learning how to use a tool called eCoP for managing their Toastmasters clubs. So it's a technical site, and what I have developed in the past for them was a Moodle course, and it's a free course. They go in and they learn the steps on how to use this tool called eCoP. But now with Units, what I've been able to do here is just add the PDFs from those books that I created in Moodle directly into this group. Wow. So you set up your unit and then you just create one after the other. And in each of these, I've just placed a copy of the PDF. So it means that anyone that comes into the group doesn't have to go anywhere else to get that learning. They would simply click on the link, download it, or just read it on the screen. And I've found that this is being used in other groups for Toastmasters in specific ways to make it clickable and easy and one click away type of approach, especially for those who use mobile devices, such as Jane was mentioning, because it's so quick and easy. And we can focus their attention on things in the group itself.
Okay, and are you using a secret group also, Carol?
It's not a secret group, but it's a closed group.
Right.
So members have to pass through by answering questions, and I have a team of administrators who look at the answers and think, okay, well, these are Toastmasters, not just anyone.
People trying to get in, yeah.
So we have a gateway, and that helps filter the membership. But it's grown quite large, as you can see, 1,200 members. And because I run events for them in training for eCoP, the use of the events that I'll go to now are ideal.
Yes.
Because you get your RSVPs all in the one place. Yeah. And I can remind them of this, and Facebook will automatically remind them of their events as well.
That's right.
And one of the things that I like about the events is that when I go into the event, and let's say it's getting close to this one, and I want to send a message to everybody, I then click on message guests. So anyone who is RSVP'd to this event when I message them, it sets up a group messenger, and that reminds them and gives them an opportunity to discuss with other people who are coming to the event. So it's a really great tool that I can use for this purpose.
That's
but
really
units
good.
is the one that I got really excited about. I mean, you all know about events.
Yes, yeah, but the units is interesting. I don't know, in a so these people join the Toastmasters, and this is Easy Speak is a training session you do with them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just only thing I would be concerned about if we were doing our training through Facebook is obtaining the evidence we need, and also the other thing, I mean, is the privacy type thing too. I don't know.
Yeah, with the training that we do for people, it's voluntary.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to be tracked.
Yes.
So RSVP at least tells me who's going to come along.
Yes.
I'm supported and funded to do the training for them.
Yeah.
So we don't have that kind of drawbacks.
Yeah. Now, who was saying that? I heard someone.
I love it. We use Facebook heaps, so that's a huge plus for me. I've already set mine up, turned it on.
Good on you.
Oh, good on you, Kylie.
Yeah,
and
very good.
There's one other that you might really love as something to explore, and it's only happening for the very large groups. I'm a member of a group that is 5,000 or more in it, Toastmasters, and we've just begun using Facebook mentorship tool, which allows people to nominate themselves as a mentor or request to be mentored, and then we match them together.
Ah, very good.
And so you can request that from Facebook for a large group. Awesome. I think it might be limited to those that are very large, but for us it's ideal. And we've set that up in one of the large groups. We've already got 70 mentors and 40 mentees all wanting to get into the program, and it's all voluntary. But once you set it up and people then associate with each other, then it's up to them.
Yeah, to follow through. Very good. Thank you for sharing, Carol. That's excellent. And I'm glad I've seen what the units are. I'll explore those a little bit more.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, very good. And now we've got Glenn from the Gordon in Geelong, and Glenn's going to have a talk to us about some of the communication tools that they use. Are you there, Glenn?
I am, and thank you for Kerry, Jane and Carol's presentations. I've learned a lot listening to you guys. I guess we're all trying to do the same kind of thing, you know, draw people in and get them talking to one another. We're all doing it kind of in different ways. At the Gordon, I guess we're using as much of Moodle as we can to enhance collaboration. I think one way, and it's a very, very, very simple way, but one way that I've certainly noticed has been successful is that teachers tend to use forums for, if they're not using them for activities or assessments, they are at least using them quite often for announcements. And, you know, they've moved from that realm of putting a note up on the door saying today's cancelled to at least training a lot of students to, in actual fact, be aware of the fact that announcements about their course will be forthcoming from the forum. We also, it seems like horticulture, conservation management, and animal studies seem to be the best adopters of forums in our particular environment. I'm not sure. We have Moodle messaging, of course, and I know that some of us use it as a tool. How much actual teachers and students are using it, I probably don't really have a good sense of. I know it's good to know it's actually there. I'm not sure how much it's being used. Certainly the administrator might occasionally get on it and send out a message to everyone, but it's used infrequently like that. With respect to texting, normally I think probably our SMS eCentral, we probably use that for texting to students quite often. In terms of social media, we tend to, because of the issues that you guys have raised, I know that it's got to be sanctioned through marketing. Now, I'm sure that all sorts of groups are set up between students that aren't particularly sanctioned, but the sanctioned Facebook subgroups go through marketing, generally speaking. And the other tool that we use both amongst staff and with our students is Zoom, and it's a tool that Christine and I are very familiar with. The good thing about it, obviously video conferencing software, but you don't have to pay for anything. If your meeting has more than 3 people in it, sorry, if it has more than 2 in it, if it has 3 or more, you may be limited to 40 minutes. But I mean, there's probably not a lot of Zoom meetings that you would want to have that are greater than 40 minutes. Subsequent to that, of course, you can get a fairly cheap kind of license. So basically, Christine, that's kind of it in terms of the collaboration tools that immediately jump to mind with respect to Gordon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very good. Now, I just see T. Finnimore, I'm not sure your first name, but you're talking there about using social media and developing your policies and guides and so forth. And it is something that at GoTafe took us quite a few years to get it to actually happen. And we had to write some policies and procedures to allow it to happen. And one of those was that all staff had to do social media training. That was the blanket. Then anyone who wanted to use Facebook had to do training on Facebook and how to set up a secret group and how to use some of the features in Facebook, you know, to create interactive content in there. And there was a code of conduct, and it was really important, that code of conduct for social media, not only for teachers, but also that the students were inducted with that code of conduct for social media. But if you need some advice on policy and procedures, please message me and give me your details and I can follow up with you. Kylie, I'd like you to tell us what you do because you're fully online, so you should have some really good advice for us.
Yeah, a bit on the spot. Look, yeah, so all our students are online. We have currently in the property section, we have a few thousand students and they're all over the country. So we have lots of different ways of engaging with them. Trying to keep them working, of course, is our biggest problem. Facebook is our strongest tool, I'd say. We've used Instagram, we've used Twitter, tried to use Snapchat. The problem with Snapchat, of course, is it vanishes very quickly. So the longevity of that hasn't been there. We use Adobe for class tutorials, and also a program called IC, which is an interactive environment, similar in the sense that we can see each other like we are here in Zoom, except for we're all in the same digital environment, so you actually feel like you're in the room together. You can walk around together. The closer you stand to people, the better you hear them. If you walk away from them, you don't hear them. So it's very much a virtual reality environment. When I first saw it, I was very concerned about the usage because we have a lot of remote students in very remote areas with limited data usage or limited internet access, but it runs really smoothly. It's very, very low on the usage, so it's great for that environment. Yeah, I've already started setting up my new units in my Facebook page. Now.
Yeah, good.
That'll be my job today. Yeah, so we use lots of environments. We have about 800 members on our Facebook group. The problem is, I still think with Facebook is we've got a huge demographics. We've got from leaving school, 18s, up to people in their 50s, 60s doing the course. So our demographics is huge, and a lot of people, of course, are anti-Facebook, so we can't rely purely on Facebook, and that's our problem. We actually started TAFE. We started up our own. Well, we didn't start it, but we started using a tool that was very similar to Facebook, and we tried to get all the students onto that environment. Same sort of profile looked the same, and we thought that maybe students would take to that if it wasn't Facebook. They didn't feel they had that attachment or the stigma with Facebook, that they might have had a bad experience. We trialled it for a year and it didn't really work for us. We didn't get the numbers we wanted in it.
Yeah, very good. That's excellent, Kylie. So your learning management system is Moodle?
We're changing over to Moodle at the moment. We've been using Loco, so yeah, a little bit of a changeover for us getting the hang of Moodle and trying to get our head around it.
Yeah.
And when we have a client, a different system altogether for the student records that we maintain.
Yeah.
And with Facebook, it's one of those things we upload. Like I'll put up. I put up my videos. Any classes I do, recordings go on there for videos. I've used the albums in photo albums for learning tips. I've got a study album and then I've got tips in there, and that's been great. But I think my units is now going to supersede that, because they're all jumbled in together in one album. Study tips. This is fantastic. Yeah. So we use Facebook a lot for that. A lot of after hours, because of course we only are manned here between working hours. So a lot of students, work and then need support during the night. And I know what other people are concerned about. The students do contact you. They do message you outside hours. I think I was probably more concerned about that in the beginning. The students are pretty much respectful of it. Very rarely do I get too many messages outside hours. And I always can tell by the way they write their messages to whether I want to answer them. If they're going to be just badgering me for answers, I just sort of shut them down and worry about it in work hours the next day. But to be fair, out of 800 students, very rarely do they step over the line.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's so good. And so with all their assessments, do they actually still upload them in Moodle?
Yeah, in our environment,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
So they still upload them. Facebook's only a support mechanism.
Yes.
Guides them if they need a web link. I can pop it in Facebook and things like that. So it just guides them.
It guides them, and it's a way of communicating and getting them engaged. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's a matter of getting engaged, or if they're starting to feel like they're falling off the wagon, they can't cope anymore. They're not making it. They don't feel that they can get it. It's a way of not only me supporting them, but other students actually with them and saying, I know how you felt the first few units were the hardest. I never thought I was going to get over them, and once you get over them, it's all good. So it's a really good way for them to support each other as well.
Yeah, and that's what you want, isn't it? You want
it's that community feeling. They definitely need that. We have in the virtual environment, we actually have a virtual coffee shop, so they can turn up to the coffee shop at any time and study together, support each other. They can put up boards on the coffee shop wall and have a look at what they're working on and things like that. So that's good. But Facebook's just like everyone said, Facebook's on their phones. It's there. It's something everyone's familiar with and comfortable with.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. Thank you for sharing. That's excellent. Have we got anyone else in the room that would like to share? Teresa, you want to have a bit of a talk about what's happening at your campus?
Yeah, so we're just in the middle of going through our social media policies.
Yeah.
So we've got different departments using Facebook for different things, but we also use Instagram. We're using Microsoft Teams. We're using Moodle. Moodle is our LMS platform, so we're using Moodle Messenger as well. So everybody is sort of using different things for different tasks, I suppose. So we love Facebook for the creative team, because we can visualize everything. People can put up their photos, their artwork. They can instantly have that gratitude and feedback straight away. I suppose what we're struggling with is, how do we contain that? How do we manage it in a way that's going to be professional and still in the learning environment without blurring the lines between that social side of Facebook and what we want to use it for our learners.
That's so true. And I think we've sort of drawn the line that our Facebook is for the social collaboration and engagement, and our LMS, our Moodle, is for the learning. So we've sort of had the two different areas. I think that's worked for us.
Yeah. So can I ask, do people have their own do they have their professional Facebook account set up? I missed the beginning. So do we have a professional Facebook account, and the students have their own sort of student account? They set up their own student account. Is that how people run their
well, that's how we've done it. I've got two profiles. One is my teacher profile, and my other is my social profile.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep it separate, even though we aren't allowed to friend our students. That is part of our policy and procedures. You are not friends.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to have a bit of a line, and we've encouraged all our teachers to do the same, to have a separate account for that. But I noticed Kylie's shaking her head there.
No, I just use my normal profile. I don't friend any students predominantly because I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I get the friend request and I just refuse them.
Yeah.
But I use my normal profile. So I'm cautious of what I use for my profile pic, but other than that, they can't see anything, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I kind of like the journey of, because we sort of blur the lines occasionally when we've got mature students that leave and become professionals, and we still want to follow them because of, you know, their professional journey, and they're artists, and know, be able to tap into their knowledge and skill as well. So, you know, having that platform to be able to move from professional to social, I find is probably a really safe way to protect everybody, and you can track that journey from, you know, being a student to then being a professional.
And I think that's where LinkedIn is getting stronger and stronger as well.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn,
yeah. Well, that's right.
Can I mention something else?
Yes, certainly.
To fly by you. I've been a Moodle user for many, many years, as you know, and been in TAFE for a long time.
Yes.
In the Toastmasters world, we've only just moved into the 21st century. I have to tell you that up front. Mostly it's all to do with face-to-face training. And now we have the use of another learning management system, and it's called Cornerstone on Demand. It's American, it's clunky, and students or Toastmasters are having trouble with it. So what we've put in place across all of our countries that have Toastmasters, and that's in the hundreds, and there are thousands of people, we've put in place what we call our virtual support sessions. So we have guides in every country who are familiar with the Cornerstone on Demand learning management system and can help Toastmasters navigate and manage. And they run mostly these virtual support sessions are run in Zoom. So Zoom has been the major communication channel by which we are supporting all of those who are learning again in Toastmasters, because it's been a brand new journey for them. They're unfamiliar. Cornerstone on Demand, it has some funny little tweaks in it, or just like any learning management system. And in order for them to get past all those pain points and to feel confident, then we support them using virtual support sessions. And the latest program that I've been part of is supporting a group of clubs across the world, about 160 of them in very small countries that have not yet had a district to support them, so countries like Fiji. And we have 32 online pathways guides, and they all use Zoom to provide those virtual support sessions because they are floundering a little bit with the learning management system. And basically what we do is just help them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Oh, he's just mute. I thought Andrew was going to say something then. It's interesting. Zoom is such a fantastic webinar software, isn't it? It just works so well. I remember I was in an area where there wasn't much internet and I didn't have a computer with me, and I had to go into a Zoom meeting, so I used my phone. I had to drive up the driveway, mind you, and then hook in with my phone, and it worked brilliantly. It was just so good. It just tends to be able to work on lots of different devices. I'm currently upgrading my TAE, and part of that course is 3 full days. I have to travel 3.5 hours to get there. And then in between, there's webinars, and the webinars are to, you know, go over everything to make you feel comfortable with what you're doing is correct. And they're using Zoom also. And I think it's just a great way to fill in the gap in between any face-to-face where you feel connected. I mean, I feel really connected with all you people that are coming to this webinar, and I can see your picture, you know, your face, so I feel like I'm engaged with you. So it is a great tool, and it's very easy to use, whether it's on your phone or on your iPad, on your computer. And as Glenn mentioned too, you know, it's free for the basic account. So it's really good like that. Anyone else like to share? We've got about a few more minutes to go. Is anyone else in the room would like to share what they're doing? Anyone from Wodonga TAFE like to talk about what they're doing at Wodonga?
Hi, Andrew. Andrew is online. He's just having tech problems, so I'm going to put my headphone over to him, and he can have a bit of a chat.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks, Teresa. Hi, Andrew. How are you going?
Yeah, well,
good. Andrew, we're just talking about different tools that we can use for communicating and collaborating, and I'm just wondering what you're using.
So with students, so
yeah,
so the main platform is through Moodle. So with Moodle Messenger.
We're finding it really hard to hear. I'm sorry, but Moodle Messenger was. Did you say?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, Chris. Can you hear me? My hand's back to British.
Okay. Are you there, Andrew?
Can you go on yours? Put yours on. If we unmute you. Is that working?
Okay, we've got Andrew now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Oh. That was a bit muffled before. I'm sorry, we couldn't hear really well. So, with your communication tools, what are you using with your students?
Unlike Teresa and a lot of others in the department here, I'm actually using all the Google platforms. So, all the Google tools that you have from G+ to Google Hangouts to Google Video, conference calls, those sort of things. So sometimes that's just a secondary backup when you might have they might have some tech issues, but their iPhone or their Android phone easily connects to Google Apps. So it is an alternative that we can actually easily communicate with those students who choose. So that can work well.
You still use Moodle as your learning management system?
Yes, yeah. So Moodle's the main platform, so that's primary where everything's based.
Yeah.
But there will be some blocks on there that links to a Google Plus community where students can actually use that forum, a bit like you'd use Facebook, but without all that sort of social spam and advertising. It's just very much cleaner platform.
And is it, as far as the privacy, so can you set up different type of groups in that Google Plus that are?
Yes, absolutely. So they have all their settings. So that's one of the first Moodle shells that they go into. There's just a little bit about online privacy and security and how to set that.
Yeah.
So we cover that in one of the first classes in the first week.
Yes.
When direct students come in.
Do you find that most of your students have got a Google account, or do you find that they have to set that up?
I'd say more than most of them. Usually when they first get enrolments, more of them have got Gmails than probably Hotmails or other types of mails.
Yeah.
And that just is an easy one login access to any Google Docs or anything you share with them.
Yeah.
So that I guess it's fairly important that they do know their primary platform and where they go to and find all their links and get to things is on Moodle. And then once they actually go onto their Moodle units, they will actually just find links that they can hit to access other ways we can communicate, collaborate together.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. Thanks for sharing, Andrew. That's good.
Sorry I got in here a little bit late, but I'd love to. It's a topic.
Thank you for coming, and we'll be a recording so that you can catch up what you missed. So that's good.
So with LinkedIn and Instagram and all those other things, I am interested what teachers use and how they can, fit that in with their formal platform. And to what degree you can do that in a professional manner.
Yeah, exactly. Is anyone in the room using LinkedIn as a social media and communication tool with their students?
Yeah, we have it.
Oh, who's that?
This was Kylie.
Oh, Kylie, yes, sorry.
Yeah, we used it. We started using it. We had some we were doing valuation, so we started using it for the valuation. We haven't really pushed it to the limit, but yeah, it's definitely starting to work. We need to spend more time focusing on it and building it up. But it is something that we're trying to utilise as much as possible. And like mentioned before, a lot of our students go on to be in the industry, so it's
that's right
to have.
Yeah, and it's sort of really building up their professional profile, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, and helping them to gain that. So I think it's a really good tool.
I think it's a great thing to use towards the end of your courses, maybe, as they're starting to get their quals and they're starting to go out and look for work. I think it'll be a beneficial tool to have up and running.
Yeah, definitely. Very good. Thank you. Rosa, whereabouts are you from, Rosa? She might be on the telephone, so it might be hard for her to communicate with us. And John? No, John's not talking either. Some people may not even have they might have the headset but not the microphone, so that's okay. Does anyone else would like to share? We've got John from Orange. That's where he's from, New South Wales, Orange. Did you want to share at all, John, what you're doing in Orange?
Yeah, hi. I'm looking after blended delivery support with Moodle. Mainly we're supporting teachers rather than students directly.
Yeah.
And the teachers are looking after the students. We're using Skype for Business a lot for communicating with the teachers. So, yeah. And we've got Workplace by Facebook at the moment. So we've got an internal version of Facebook that we do a lot of chatting with teachers and other staff as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. So it's not Facebook, or it's similar to Facebook.
It's made by Facebook, but it's curated within an organisation. So it's basically tafeNSW.facebook.com. So we chat everything amongst ourselves, but it's completely separate from the public Facebook stuff. But you can collaborate with other organisations that use it as well.
Yeah.
And we're moving a lot of all our emails and stuff onto Workplace now, so that your inbox isn't all filled in, and more people can see questions and answer and everything else, considering how big we are and all across the state and stuff.
Very good. Oh, that's excellent. And how are you finding it personally? Yeah.
Not bad. Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
So thank you. This is my first time here, so thank you.
Oh, thanks for joining us. That's excellent. We'll have these sessions run every month. And any suggestions on our topic next time?
No, not for me. I'm just happy to learn and see what everyone else is doing. And for now, thank you.
All right. So if you would like to put in the chat any suggestions, that would be great. Now, I'm just looking from Rosa. Couldn't use the Zoom technology first time and need IT allow access. I dialed in and can't hear. You can't hear. Okay, that's fine. She's in a secondment in role where all the marine pollution response training is delivered face-to-face. Oh, that'd be interesting. See lots of potential for online components through the LMS and to use collaborative techniques discussed today. So that's great. And hopefully next time you come in, Rosa, you'll have access to the microphone and we can get you to talk about what you're doing. So that would be great. So thanks, everyone. If you can just jot something down what you would like to talk about next time. We have had, most people are using Moodle, but a few may not be. So a lot of our sessions have been using some of the tools like the plugin H5P or some of the activities that are in Moodle. But, you know, it can be anything to do with the online blended delivery. So this is an e-learning community of practice, so it's anything to do with e-learning. So if you can message me through my email and let me know if you've come up with suggestions. Otherwise, I'll just plan something for our next session and let you know what it is. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Catch you next time, and we'll speak soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.